We are here again and excited for this one. This was a fun movie, by the way.
Hmm.
Just gonna tell you what it is right here. Straight Jacket. First time watch for me. It's 30. And I'm sure you've gentlemen seen this movie. Have seen this movie before.
Thank you for giving me a reason to revisit a lot of William Castle films that I have not seen in a long time.
Hey,
Because this is such a special movie for William Castle. But when you start going, well, I haven't seen The Tingler in a while, or I
oh,
haven't seen, Homicidal, I haven't seen like Shanks. It's there's such it's an amazing film. So
I love
yeah,
this movie.
so thank you. It was not just fun revisiting,
mm,
a film that is actually very, very important, like this, but also such a huge career that was the huge person that William Castle was.
Yeah, I love this movie. I watched this. I think we talked about it last week. Actually, I watched it with Jennifer Tilly. I think we talked about.
Mhm.
yes, yes.
But I didn't tell you the reason that they were showing it at the theater that weekend for the Florida Film Festival was because that premiering that weekend was a great documentary about William Castle and like
Oh,
just his career and his
Mhm.
gimmicks and all the stuff he put together. And like, I urge people to go check that. I can't remember the name of it at the moment, and I'll look it up as we go. But yeah, it truly fantastic. But like that was the first time I saw this movie, and I was just really, first of all, Joan Crawford in this is great.
Mhm.
She's all over the place, but does it so well, all the way up to the end.
Mhm.
I really liked the whole story, the whole vibe, the twist, the whole nine. But the look is what is one of my favorites, especially in black and white and getting that
mhm.
stark contrast in the shadow.
Mhm.
And I realize that there's some cheesiness to it, but keep in mind for 1964 to see heads chopped off that way,
It was
that's
it was
so
considered quite
surprising.
graphic,
That was
to
Yeah,
say the
awesome.
least. And this is such a special film for William Castle because this is at the height of his gimmicks, and it's a non-gimmicked film. The gimmick is the film itself, and it was new terrain. Not necessarily because Castle had been, it was in research. It's like one of the earliest things I could find for Castle was 1949, and he was an executive producer of Lady of Shanghai. And you go to the end of his career in which he purchases and partially produces Rosemary's Baby. Without William Castle, there would not be a whole, literally like a whole subgenre of horror. So this guy who's known as a schlockmeister, he starts out with Orson Welles and then he ends with Rosemary's Baby. This
yeah.
guy is amazing and should not be looked at in any small way when it comes to the history of movies.
I think he is just as important as when you talk about Roger Corman, like we have, like which we have such a huge affinity for, and we've
Mhm.
discussed, and other horror names, Hitchcock, of course, things like that. I do think William Castle has to be put up on that pedestal with them,
Yes.
just because of everything we think of from this era of movies. In any way, in any capacity, from the theaters all the way to the screen, all of it, like it was him,
Mhm.
and he deserves that love and that attention for sure.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Definitely. Well, it's, you mentioned, Straight, you mentioned about the performance by Joan Crawford. Okay, so number one, it has to be said, is the relationship between Joan Crawford and William Castle was immense. That they got along immensely. But the amount of control that she had on this film is amazing. Beyond, things that are in the green room, she literally had final say in all the cast. She had
Mm.
final say in cinematographer. She had final say on exactly how cold it was going to be on set because that helped with her skin. Yeah, I remember when she was doing this, she was in her 60s and she's very successfully playing a character that could be around 39, 40.
Hmm.
But this was not just a William Castle vehicle. This is one of those, synchronicitous times in which you have the author of Psycho, which came out several years before, which you have to mention Psycho if you're talking about this film, but you have Robert Bloch, William Castle, and it's anchored by Joan Crawford. This is it's sad that this film is not talked about more in William Castle lore because it was so important to him. This was like his grand slam movie. Like everything aligned.
I'd even push that farther and say that this movie does deserve to be talked about in horror.
Oh,
And
exactly. Well, it's very important in the subgenre of hagsploitation.
yeah.
Which, if you're familiar with hagsploitation, that comes basically from the success of a film that had Joan Crawford in it, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Nope.
And from that template, you had a lot of aging stars that really they took control of their careers and started. There were a lot of so you had like Lady in a Cage. I think it was Deep River with Betty Davis. You had a slew of these films that you had an aging Hollywood Scarlet playing something very real. And this film is one of the best in that subgenre of exploitation films because one of the things that a lot of people haven't. So yes, is Joan Crawford's star and her, has been, is that being used? Yeah, it's exploitation, but she controls the shots.
Yeah.
It's in a lot of situations it was that, but no, this is just a generally beautiful movie. You mentioned about how it looked. The scene that starts out, it's a pan at the top, well, not a pan, but a shot at the top of the powder room
Oh my God.
is shot. It is,
Beautiful.
oh,
It is a great
stunning. Shot. And yeah, it's just.
And you got to give it up to the art direction for that too, to draw you in the way they do with the pinstripe walls. Like, and it just felt so claustrophobic and so beautifully done. Like, I loved that scene.
Same.
I think just to add to, she was great in it. That's all I wanted to add.
Sorry. Oh yeah, and no, I was gonna say what adds to it again is what I've said before about on other movies is how they'll mention something that they'll just mention something like how she said earlier about the cage animals. She doesn't like seeing animals in cages. She doesn't like seeing anything in cages. But then later on, you go right to that where she's in that room, and she just panics because she was locked up for 20 damn years, locked away for 20 years. For 20 years. So it's like, oh shit, am I? And she just got out too. It's not like she's been out for a couple of years and kind of just. She like literally just got out, and there's certain things in this movie. I love this movie, by the way, but there's certain things in this movie where I'm just like, her daughter, like, for example, right? And we'll be jumping all over the place like we always do. But
Yeah.
What's standing out right now to me is the part where the mother. They all finally go to well, not in-laws really, but wanted to be
richer in-laws place. Yeah. Michael's parents.
Michael's parents, yes, and the mother finally goes and stuff. And I remember when they're all going out to the barn to look at a fucking cow or something, and they leave her in there alone. And I'm like, she just got home like maybe 3 days ago, and she's having so much trouble adjusting, like just mentally adjusting to everything. And you guys are throwing this at her, and now you're gonna just leave her in here with some people she's never. This is her first time meeting these people, and she's going through this mental crisis. And the one person that she knows very well, her daughter, well, as well as she could in the past, whatever. Maybe she wrote letters and shit, I'm assuming. But just like took off outside too. And I'm just like, that was fucked up. Especially after her panic attack she just had when she spilled the coffee on herself. And then she was panicking in that room. That's crazy.
Those elements of it. And I think Joan Crawford played the mental health aspect of it and her in crisis so well that ending lands when she decides she's so afraid of it the whole time, going back, being caught, and then she decides to go back for the love of her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like she's gonna go be with her daughter in the asylum. Like it's such a beautiful, tragic, but loving ending. It's it
Do you
really
know
is.
why the ending is the way it is?
I do not. Please enlighten.
Okay. I forget the name of the actress who plays the daughter, but the film was supposed to end on her having the breakdown with the mask. And the only thing you were going to see was going to be Joan Crawford's character staring off at the distance. This pissed Joan off so badly, she helped write a new ending. So she didn't get outshined by her co-star. Yeah,
Wow.
that is how in control she was of this. And there's a really great story that involves Pepsi, I can tell you also.
Go
Please.
for it. I wanna hear
Okay,
it.
so first of all,
Right.
if you look through the film, there are a couple places that Pepsi shows up, like in the kitchen, there's a box of Pepsi.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So at this time, I forget if she was married or she was just seeing the president of Pepsi Cola. Joan Crawford was very much, I mean, even the publicity photos you see from behind the scenes of this film, people have Pepsis. But the psychiatrist, there's a reason why he was a horrible actor. He was a vice president of Pepsi. That is how you have the really pathetically bad actor that is a psychiatrist.
That's
The one
funny.
you actually go, yay, they killed him. So
That's freaking funny.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
yeah.
That's I love. I'm thanking
Crawford worked it. I mean, Crawford literally created Joan Crawford. She was not Joan Crawford. She took every kind of lesson. Very accomplished dancer, but she is a persona completely created by her.
Yeah.
And she lived the way she wanted to live and did what she had to get it. Very impressive human being.
George Kennedy is one I want to give shine light on, and this is Leo Krause, the
Yes.
farmhand. Yeah, George. I love George Kennedy. First of all, everything he showed up in, but now
Even The
Sturdy.
Uninvited is good because of him.
Oh my god, I love The Uninvited.
Sorry.
Oh, Sturdy, you need to add that. Oh, it's a demon cat. It's a demon cat that lives inside of another cat that comes out and kills people on a boat. I'm
sorry to derail you like
Send me the
that,
movie
but-
poster. I'll if I do a show during the week of Thanksgiving that Tuesday, I'll use that movie. Just send
We
me
should
the-
do a pet-related month.
Oh, all I'm gonna say is good. You're welcome. We are saying you're gonna enjoy that one.
Although I know I do need an animal wheel, but I gotta,
That would be an interesting one to do.
animal.
Animal horror, yeah. I like
But
that.
I want actual animals, not creatures, not like no monsters, animals. Even if they're like,
What about giant animals?
yes,
they're
giant animals. Yes, these have to be animals.
Okay.
Just
Cool.
because I want to do something else with creatures. That's just creatures, but not like animalistic. You know what I mean?
86 sharks though, because there's so many sharks and everything.
That's my thing about. Oh, we'll talk about it later.
Oh, go ahead.
But back to George Kennedy, who used to be able to make any movie that was truly bad a little better to watch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not Naked Gun for Sturdy though. He played the chief or the lieutenant in those movies.
I didn't like it.
Lee Majors. This is his first film for Lee Majors too. So
who did he play in this?
He played the husband of Joan Crawford, the one who's killed. That's Lee Majors. Yeah.
I didn't recognize him.
First film.
Oh my god. Lee Majors. Okay, so Sturdy. You ever see Scrooged with Bill Murray?
Probably. I've seen
Lee
so many Scrooge movies, but I believe I've seen that one. Probably.
Lee
more.
Majors had the best scene in that movie, and that's saying a lot because that's a great movie. But yeah, when Lee Major, the night the reindeer died.
I just noticed you're still black and white, Sturdy. Took me a
Oh,
little
yeah.
while to process that.
All November. All
I
November.
don't
Awesome.
know what you're talking about. I don't see color.
I don't want to hear that nonsense.
Oh, come on. You're in black and white.
There's still color behind me, Mick. I don't want to hear that
Please
nonsense.
give me that one.
Look at it. Look at it. That's color behind. The color is
It's
behind
not
me.
fair. You knew what I meant, and it was funny.
Yeah, but you know how I roll, Mick. You know I'm going to take it.
I know
further.
you're a dick.
Listen. When it comes to the race stuff, I tend to step on the gas pedal. When it comes to the white boy humor, and you and James are out here together, it's tough to deal with.
Oh yeah, that is.
I
You're right.
gotta step it up. I'm like, all right.
I wonder what James thinks of this movie. I'm sorry he's hurt.
Me
but-
too.
Mhm.
We'll get her. Let us know by next show, next Thursday.
Yeah, I would love to
And,
know.
listen, James, if you're watching, hurry the fuck up, get the fuck better, and get back on goddamn shows.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah.
Yes,
See, Trevor's
absolutely.
gonna say it nice this time because he didn't have to be all sympathetic to you last time. Listen, you get one sympathy pass for me when you get hurt, unless it's like super bad, and then you maybe get 2 or 3. But yeah, be
No
careful.
massages today.
This is why I keep saying James and Mick need to be the new bubble boys. They keep just put them in big bubbles. I think they'll be safe today.
You're gonna come over to James's house. It's gonna be him on the back porch just blowing bubbles. You didn't think we'd do it, did you?
Blowing bubbles in bubbles. That would be hilarious.
Oh my
Hasn't
god!
been done yet. Somebody do it.
Dressed like Joan Crawford at the end of this movie. Not at the end, like right before the end.
Well, this movie has the weirdest MacGuffin of any film, that it's bracelets that are used as a gaslighting tool.
I know.
It's such an inventive plot. I mean, it's self-aware too. I mean, Robert Bloch knows that he's writing kind of a Psycho ripoff,
Yeah.
so it's very self-aware.
But it is different enough where I
it's
think
very
this
different.
deserves its own like more respect than just being, which I know you're not calling it that, but like I'm sure in film it is considered a ripoff of Psycho, which of course it is. I mean, it's Robert Bloch, like you said, but come on, like this is such a
it's not ripoff zone, but it's
inspired maybe.
There's little things that Bloch makes a point of, like, you know, just little similarities that are playful. And, you know, that's another wonderful thing about William Castle and revisiting William Castle's work, is there's this playfulness to all of his films. And that includes like some of the latter comedies and things like that. But no, this is, I would say, I mean, I wouldn't put it on, like, you know, a pedestal of Psycho or Peeping Tom, but one of the major influences on this film was one of the main reasons why William Castle changed the direction of how he wanted to produce films, from like gritty underworld noirs to approaching things a little bit more you know, askew. And that was his obsession with foreign film, specifically the French film Les Diaboliques was a huge influence on how he felt he eventually wanted his cinema to be like. So, you know, this is another situation where, you know, yet again, it tends to, you know, he did it to himself. William Castle was bigger than life, considered one of the friendliest guys to ever work in cinema, but he played to, you know, exaggerated, but he is so important. He's also very, very important in, you know, the development of cinema promotion. You know,
even earlier than I would say Hitchcock, honestly.
Oh yeah.
You know, he didn't really kick off his promotions. Like, I mean, the biggest one is Psycho, but like, it was really, the gimmicks all come from William Castle. I mean,
oh yeah, well, it's like, you know, looking at this film versus, like, you know, this film had more connection to Repulsion than Psycho had to Repulsion, and it is amazing how that eventually led to a connection between Castle and Polanski. That a film that was cutting edge and very fringe in his day, pulled from a lot of these smaller films. And then that person, later in life, it's like returning the favor. And that's something that you can kind of track in William Castle films. People liked working for him.
Yeah. And for Chadman, you said Kennedy and Nahar. Nielsen was also a great movie, Forbidden Planet. Go check that one out.
Ooh, excellent film.
I was really impressed with the effects in this movie. Honestly, the head cut off in the beginning.
Yeah,
I was just like, and I like how they, I like how they, they panned it so you just see the shadow of it going.
Mm-hmm.
When it works, it's so fucking beautifully done, and I feel like I remember Texas Chainsaw Massacre was another one. I love what the off-screen kills of the original movie. A lot of the off-screen stuff they do because it plays up the horror of it so well. But what this did was just it was awesome, and I honestly was not expecting that. I was expecting like with her. Yes, we see her with the axe, and I was expecting at most maybe we see her like swinging the axe in the shadow, or like you see her with the axe like this, and then it kind of goes to the next scene and insinuates it type of deal. But when they went all the way through like that, I'm like, I'm in. I don't give a fuck what happens for the rest of this movie. I am in. Luckily, the rest of the movie was really good though. Like the story was good, and it got a little crazy. Like it got crazy. It got a little crazy for its time. And a movie. The only thing is, I feel like if they tried to do this movie again, I feel like they would overdo it. Especially with like the scenes where she's like going, and the acting in this was amazing.
It would almost have to be more thriller drama than
than horror, because they would overdo it, and I feel like they would take away a lot from it, trying to do too much instead of just. I don't even want to be disrespectful and say this was simple, because obviously it wasn't simple, but you guys know what I mean. Like keeping it kind of more simplified and kind of like this. Just, I would even say if they redid it, they did a remake or whatever, but just kind of kept it in that in that time frame, and all that. But didn't too much maybe. But I just feel because there's certain movies like that are in black and white. I wouldn't mind seeing them redo or even doing what they do with the with Godzilla.
Say that.
Even if they redid it.
Don't use that horrible word.
Godzilla with the colorless with the Godzilla.
Yeah.
Doing it like
the
that.
Colorization process, as made famous by Mr. Ted Turner. I don't have kind words about it. I can't think of any.
No, I don't disagree.
Miele did a damn good job. Miele's colorization, turn of the century, awesome.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. So while you're watching this and like the effect of using the shadows when she chops off the heads in the beginning, and then as you kind of go on and things are building up, when you get to the actual, like the Leo Krause, the farmhand getting his head chopped off, and you see it, does that affect land for you? Because they've like showed shadows and then you show it finally?
I honestly, for this one, I like the shadows better. I think because it's in black and white as well, though, and it just fit better. It was more beautiful for like the art of it was more beautiful.
Oh yeah. But the surprise of showing the head on that third, like.
Oh no! By then I wasn't surprised. No, it was the initial double, and it was a double one at that. That was the biggest fucking surprise for me because it wasn't just one; it was a double one. Listen, people, here's what happened. She came home. She came home from a hard day at work, and then her punk ass, no good husband was in there fucking somebody in her bed, in their bed. She did what she had to do.
An axe to both of them.
That's crime of passion. That's crime of passion. It's a real thing.
Yeah. Well, to get back to what you were saying about the effects, as you mentioned before, Mick, 63, 64, this would have had, and this was a very successful movie. Let's not say what it is. It had the same kind of hit that Eli Roth's Hostel did for a lot of people, as far as shocking. Also, one of the wonderful things about black and white photography is if you use light and shadow correctly, it is very forgiving.
Mhm.
So there are, there are elements to black and white films that are quite shocking and virtually show nothing. But it's the use of, the internal elements of filmmaking with black and white photography that makes it really stunning.
Mhm. Very true.
I am loving this damn journey, guys. I can tell you that right now. Between the TikToks, which I got to still do mine, I'm going to use this movie later on tonight, and the podcast stuff. Just like there's black and white is just it's so peaceful. It's so freaking peaceful. Like, I mean, obviously, if you're watching a horror movie, there's nothing peaceful about that. But just watching these movies, even the horror. Well, that's all I've been watching is the horror movies in black and white. There's just some sort of like calmness and peacefulness that just
Mhm.
I don't know what it is, but it just has it. I don't know if it's from the movie. I don't know if it's from. I mean, because I've been watching things, and the reason why I'm saying this, I've been watching things in color since I was born, of course. But I always remember what stands out to me a lot from my childhood is watching like the I Love Lucy's, the Bewitched, the Munsters, Adams, and so on and so forth. There's so many of them that would come on like Nick at Night and other channels, but they're in black and white, and I loved them. I would be so entertained by them. They were funny. The acting they were just entertaining, and and then if I felt like as I got older, it went away. Like I didn't see as much on TV, and of course everything changed with streaming and all that other shit. And now that it feels good to come back and just like making like I made November the month of just black and white. It feels good to go back and just watch just black and white movies for a little
Yeah.
bit.
It goes back to the internals of filmmaking. If you were able to, like, say, take the year we're in now
Mhm.
and also the year 63, 64, if you could actually look at the average number of films and then look at the average number of edits in those films, so 63, 64 would be up here. Today, it's up here. So it is automatically more comforting. And there's more of a connection to theater or television. Well, actually, movie that way. That's why television editing became the way it was. It took, from the, book of, editing films at that time. I mean, this film and a lot of films did wonderful things with montage and quick editing, but today, in a Michael Bay world and a real centric 30-second kind of existence, if it doesn't go boom, 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 you're either going to be calmed by it or you're just not going to be able to take it. And that's one of the things about movies of that time period, not necessarily because they're black and white. There was less of a necessity to try to not just have a really good story and actors that could
Mhm.
portray it versus, well, how can we make this look good? So, yeah,
That,
at
that
least
makes
that's my take on
I
it.
get that.
no, that does make sense, but it's just again, there's just there's a comfort to it. That's not me saying I don't like movies that are in color.
You guys keep talking. I'll see if I
Oh, no,
have
no.
something that pertains to this movie.
Yep. I was about to. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do it right now. Just pull up the trailer real quick. It is on mute, but just to show you guys, I'm not showing the movie, just the trailer again. And the trailer is on mute, but just because hang on. All right, here we go. Like this just looks smooth. It looks clear. It looks for its time for what they had.
Mhm.
Bad at all.
Well,
And
just look at that shot alone. Uh, there's immense use of shadows.
mhm.
It's your directors of photography are schooled in all forms of photography.
Yeah. And William Castle is very good about picking director of photography for his movies. I mean, because he understood. I gotta give it to the guy. He understood the element of horror, especially on camera.
There's the axe.
So good.
It's like, even though it is one of the weirdest plots of any film ever made, The Tingler is one of the most effective films
Agreed.
I've ever seen.
I love that movie.
The Tingler.
Oh,
Mhm.
If you wouldn't have had another good
That's
one,
vintage.
Black and white. That's awesome.
There are those damn bracelets.
Oh my goodness, yeah. You heard them a lot.
Oh yeah.
There's that X.
Okay, so this is a shot that nowadays people would screw up, and there's so little done for that such effective feeling of claustrophobia and everything closing in on her, and yeah. Like you said, Mick, there's not a lot of connection to Psycho, but man, they played the Robert Bloch and yeah.
I'd even argue that as much as we attribute so much of our slasher tropes to Psycho, which I'll be honest is a little disconnected because I don't think Psycho set any real tropes. I think we've just evolved from Psycho. And I always give it its props, but this movie definitely has a lot of tropes that you do see in later horror movies. I can see a lot of Scream in this, other things like that. I think that's why it's important, and this isn't for you guys, of course, but for anybody who's watching and listening, this is why it's important to make sure you watch these movies and stuff like that, because these are the ones, the little hidden gems that get lost. Buckets of Blood was around this time. What was it? Feast of the Blood Feast. Blood Feast was 62, I think, 63. Another great one. These little
great, but
great for how much they've fair, but
I'm not hating on Herschel Gordon Lewis, but
I wasn't so much talking about Blood Feast at the greats point, but I realized I ended off there. But you should check it out, because these are all movies. The 60s had such a series of horror movies that really went on, and I don't think we realize as horror fans today inspired so much of what we see coming out. And 60s often, I think we talk about Psycho, Rosemary's Baby, things like that, but a lot of this stuff gets lost. So.
Well, it's it's very hard to say that Psycho created all these things when the same year you had Peeping Tom out of England, and you take it 5 years before, you have Clouzot's Les Diaboliques. And that's the game changer. Eyes Without a Face are the game changers. Psycho is an awesome film, but it tips its hat to other filmmakers more than people want to give it credit for. So, but that's the whole thing. Cinema is that way. It grows, and of course there are ripoffs, but
no, it's not about the ripoff. It's these are getting lost by the wayside. So that's why I just want to make sure it's shining lights. And I'm glad, Sturdy, you're doing the black and whites, and and a lot of these I think do get lost by. And I'm seeing among the horror community, I wish there was more of a resurgence of the old and appreciation of classics.
Yeah, I mean, it's why I do. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. A big reason why I do this is because I want to see these movies that I've never seen before and then are never discussed. Then I'm like, shit, why not talk about them too? Because I don't see anybody talking about them really.
Well, yeah, I mean, dude, you're doing the work of the angels, because every second that goes by, some of these films get deeper and deeper into an algorithm of just forgotten. Yeah. At what point does a generation have an ability to look back on Village of the Damned and only go, well, wasn't that a movie from the 80s? Yeah. Not to say anything bad about John Carpenter. It was an awesome reimagining, but you are. And it is important that we champion these films that, even though sometimes we might think that they're talked about a lot, we're not, our brain bands aren't as exposed to the same things necessarily.
Yeah.
So, to get people, hooked on something like that. And, what's the best thing, in my opinion, that can come from the internet is the best thing that I experienced, in the late 80s conventions was this, they're like, dude, you gotta hear this, dude, you gotta hear this, dude. And constantly, it's like trading tapes in a metal show. That's the joy of it.
Yeah.
And now we have the internet, we could do that forever, but most of it just gets buried under. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Really quick, just letting you guys know next week.
Good movie. I'm excited.
That's gonna be a fun one. This is gonna be a fun one. I haven't seen it yet, but it's on my. It's on my. It was on
Classic
my
Karloff.
so
Hey, can I promote something before we do our ratings and such?
yes, sir.
Hey, guys, if you're on our Patreon, whether it's free or paid tier, it does not matter. Watching or listening right now, on Thanksgiving night, I'm going to go live, and one lucky winner on our Patreon, like I said, free or paid tier, will win these Terrifier cups from Fright Rags. They just came out, original designs, never used. And yeah, you have a chance to win those. So just join up over on our Patreon.
And you said Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving night, I'm gonna pick one of our patrons to win it. Yeah.
Do you know what time? Or not yet?
I'm probably gonna go around 7 or 8. So just
Okay.
keep track, or you'll be able to at least go and watch it on there. I'll be up there.
Nice.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Nice. That's dope. I may join you.
Go
Shoot the shit with you on there for a little bit.
Yeah, I might go live that night. I used to, back in the day, like to do like a Thanksgiving overnight for anybody who was maybe lonely, wasn't doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of hang out and talk.
Shit,
but,
why don't we do a let's do something. Possibly.
Okay.
Let's talk and plan something.
Sounds good.
Because I know, got some black and white open domain horror movies. Maybe just have a little watch party with everybody and just, hey, come join us. We'll be in here shooting the shit, watching these movies. As a matter of fact, what do you think about that idea? Talk about it right on the live.
I like it.
All right, so I guess we just got to find a few movies that are open domain and all that good shit, make a playlist, and we're going to add it.
There's a few William Castle movies.
Yeah, there's actually more out there than you think.
No, I believe it. I'm just saying, just in general, let's just find a way to make a playlist, and we'll just keep playing one after another. Even if we have to even if both of us have to step away, keep them playing, and come back, and
yeah,
whoever else wants to join.
Let's talk about it in the lab tomorrow.
Yes.
Plus, we got the show tomorrow night.
That too. After some fights. After some fights. But let's have
swear to God, if Mike Tyson loses, I swear to God, I can't handle another loss.
I don't want to say Mike Tyson.
Yeah, Mike Tyson's fighting tomorrow. A 27-year-old man.
Yeah.
Just fun tomorrow.
Netflix.
I miss the cartoon. I like the cartoon. The Mike Tyson mysteries.
Yes. You got no time for bird sex. That's my shit. I love that.
That's what made me love Mike Tyson. I saw it. I'm like, I can't not love this human being.
But that's the best part about Mike Tyson. Yeah. He's just
like,
yeah. I feel like everybody around the world can find one thing they love about Tyson, because he had like this within the past 10 to 15 years. Let's say he had his hands in just so many different random things, like with that cartoon, Mike Tyson Mysteries. I want to.
I saw just a video with him the other day, and so it was a young lady. She was maybe about 12, probably 13, and she's interviewing him. And they're standing in a hall, and she's interviewing him. She puts up the mic. She goes, "What do you feel you're coming back to fight after all these years, and you have such a great career? What do you think or want your legacy to be after you're gone?" And this dude just rolled in like a 2-minute rant about how legacies don't mean anything. When you're dead, you're dead. That's just what it is. And I'm like, come on, Mike. It's like she's a kid.
Listen.
Mike.
I think he only knows how to give things to you one way only. It's just like
well, let's see if he knows how to give it to Jake Paul tomorrow.
I hope so. It's not if he knows how to still, it's just does he still have it, because he's 58 years old.
I'm telling you right now, Mike Tyson loses, we're living the end of Empire Strikes Back. Everything I feel right now is the end of Empire Strikes Back. So Mike Tyson's going to win tomorrow, and I'm not going to feel that way. That's why I know. Mike Tyson. I approve this message. Oh, shit. I left my overlays on. And I wonder why I was too bright. I left my overlay on.
You can't reach her from sitting? Yeah, you can. You just don't
Listen, man, I'm in a different world. I'm in a different plane. I'm just trying to live life.
Speaks the truth. There he is. There he is. That's your bubble buddy.
I'm gonna go make some friends with some fucking Ewoks.
You should.
Up in the woods. Get some gummies and just be like, come on, Ewoks.
Dress up like Chewbacca. Just make the noise. I would do it, but Disney will probably sue me. So
it'd be the shortest revolution of all time.
Just get a couple. Just have your sons dress up as Ewoks, and you.
No, I said a revolution. If it's not right, Tyson won by TKO second round. Fucking James, what did you think of this movie?
Yeah, James, what did you think of it? What would you be your rating for this movie? We were diving into that. Mine, I give this movie a 9, by the way.
Yeah, I'm in an 8 with this one.
8.5.
Yeah,
Number
nice.
8.5.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You said
8. Nice. That was a great movie. Definitely go check this out if you're a horror fan. 100%.
Definitely. I don't even know if you have to be a horror fan.
No, you can. No, you're right. Sorry.
I'll say, because I'll even say if you want to go to yes, you could say definitely. You could say horror. You could say thriller, drama. You could say kind of a drama. I don't know if you can really use. Actually, yes, you can use mystery as well. You can use mystery because of the twist. You can also use someone who likes movies who have a twist at the end. There's a lot of shit. Go watch this fucking movie, people. If you're a fan of film, check this movie out.
Can I pose something? It's a horror thing. It doesn't directly pertain to this one, but I'm starting to see a surgence, and I might be wrong, and I'd love to cover this with you, Trevor, like in a chat or something to figure it out. I'm starting to see like sort of a religious fanaticism subgenre, which I know has always been there, right? Like I would put Devil's Reign on there, Red State, things like that. But more and more, like with Heretic and Knock at the Cabin, yeah. So, go see Heretic. Worth it, 100%.
I've heard amazing things.
Yeah, definitely. We just reviewed it. We're going to review Red 1 and Gladiator 2 next week. I just saw Gladiator 2. It's definitely go see Heretic. It's one of the best horror movies of the year. I'll just say that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's been a resurgence for a while, in my opinion, in films like that. I mean, if you go back, not really that far, you look at films like Mandy and stuff like that.
Oh,
there
great
is
point.
Definitely a direction. I mean, you look at like a film like Testament, and things like that. There, have always been. But I think also in the past couple years, there's a new tag phrase. And it's not a bad thing because it is such a well of information, and that is folk horror. And folk horror has become even more of a genre of horror over the past 5 years than anybody wanted to give it credit for. Yeah. And now we're seeing a lot more connections between films that might have satanic panic or be like an Omen or stuff like that, or at least be more folklore oriented or urban folklore oriented. I think that does it. And also as far as the video game culture and everything, lore is very important. So horror taking that direction, that okay, to take this you have to take a deep dive, is actually kind of a good idea based on what is popular as far as analog horror or Five Nights at Freddy's or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, I think the easiest way to convey mental health in a horror movie is through the religious subgenre
Mhm.
of like that religious fanaticism horror.
Mhm.
You see some really good stuff where like, is it this, is it that? But I love that we're starting to see that more too.
Mhm.
It's showing up in other movies, that idea of it. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that with me. That's pretty cool.
That's dope. That's dope.
It's always been one of my favorite subgenres of horror.
Nice.
You know, it's yeah. But yeah.
Oh, before we go, I wanted to show you guys this. It's the Roman Coliseum popcorn bucket.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So it's pretty rad. I listen. The movie is what it is. I really like the Roman Coliseum popcorn bucket aspect. I was like, I'm gonna put this up.
I'll throw some sharks in it.
This would be ruining anything for anybody. You can watch my review next week or listen
That's
to
all
it.
I'm gonna say. Oh man, sharks belong everywhere, but they don't.
They
But
don't.
back to the animal one though. I don't want to do sharks because I've talked about sharks enough. I know I will again in the future at some point. Maybe
I would
next-
leave wild. I would leave sea
We
life
have the
out of
beach
it.
horror thing, so
Yeah, we're doing beach horror in December
it's
anyway.
kind of a given.
Yeah,
I had
true.
to dig pretty deep, but still,
Humanoids of the
there's some
deep.
shark films. Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Mm.
I'm hungry.
Week. There you go.
I'm about to. This is my party. I can go eat if I want to, right?
Dude.
We're gonna wrap this one up a little early, people, because I just said it out loud. I'm hungry. Like it just hit me. Like, you need to go eat something.
I love it.
I got
I love
downstairs. I'm thinking about it right now, and it's thinking about me. So listen, we're gonna wrap this one up, people. But make sure you go and check out the Scene Snobs. Next week's movie. You see this? You see this? Someone wants
Yeah,
to say
spin the wheel. You gotta spin the wheel.
no. Didn't spin
Body
the wheel.
Snatchers.
Body Snatchers.
Oh, potty stand. Yeah, you've been saying that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the wheel.
Well, just because I don't know if I'm doing a Thanksgiving week, and next week is the week before Thanksgiving, so I don't know if I'm doing anything that week. And then if I do, I'm gonna do the movie we were discussing earlier. I forgot what it was. I'm sure one of you two will remember. Mick, you'll remember
The Uninvited.
that one.
Oh yes.
That'll be that Tuesday, same time, 8:00.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Yep. Same third time, same third channel. Make sure you guys go check out the Scene Snobs. You already know. If you don't know about the Scene Snobs, you don't know how to. You just don't know what's going on in this world. That's that's all I can say. You don't know what's going on in this world. Turn off CNN. Turn on YouTube.
That's probably just a safe fucking bet all around, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not, but
No,
listen,
yeah,
no.
I'm gonna steer them-
just
listen,
avoid
Politics,
everything.
movies only.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I'm steering them in the direction of Horror with Sir Sturdy and the Scene Snobs and Ambassador Media. That's all you really need in your life.
Just
Some
come be
popcorn and pint
happy at the scene.
and stuff like that. Because you know my black ass ain't talking about no politics. Here's what I think about politics. Fuck them.
Yep. All are welcome. Come on down.
Yes, this is
Be
a-
nice.
This,
Be-
is, this
be
is for
friendly.
everybody, even if you're in black and white like myself. But we're getting on out of here, people. I'll see you in your nightmares. Peace, and check this movie out. And do me a favor: watch more black and white film. Doesn't have to be horror. Whatever your favorite genre is, watch more black and white film. I'm telling you, it's very, very peaceful. And at a time like this, no, fuck that. You can always use peace in your life.